and code or capital, which feels more personal?
Character.
Ah.
Innovative towards craziness of both personal life and crowd. European investors said that we want to invest in the Indian side of crowd. 50 people build that product for 7 months. The societal challenge is moving beyond the expectations of society.
It is actually remarkable because not many people are satisfied with what they have. Maybe that's why your accidental journey is turning out to be very beautiful.
Blessings are the things, they're the quintessential aspects of your life which makes the complete difference.
Thank you so much for coming on our podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And starting off with this podcast, to know more about Ajitesh Gupta, tell us everything about yourself from starting, your childhood, everything, like what kind of a kid you were, what kind of childhood you had. So yeah.
So the first thing is, honor is all mine to be here. And talking a bit more about myself, I think it's a very rare question because people don't ask how you were as a kid. People ask you what you do, how do you do, etc. But yes, me as a kid was someone who was little shy, introvert, born in a family of bureaucrats and politicians.
Wow.
Yes, no one in my family does business. So even if we took the best astrologer in the country, they wouldn't have predicted I would be in a startup ecosystem. But that being said, I started off as a shy introvert kid, not a very good kid academically, but of course above average, never used to be in the top 10 percentile. So mid-rank kid I was, I think in my beginning years. Subsequent to that, always had that inkling of getting into the society as a contributor or a catalyst who can do good for people, but never in the startup ecosystem. But yes, thought of building something. So my first venture was when I was 17. I built a smart band for toddlers to prevent them from choking. That was the first
That
startup.
is so sweet. Okay.
Yeah, and then it failed miserably. Sorry for the spoiler alert.
It's fine.
Yeah, but giving context, I was born and brought up in Delhi only. Went to the school called DPS Vasantganj. The 17 first startup failed. Then I went to University of Edinburgh, did computer engineering there, and that was also very accidental. So I was always a JE aspirant, always. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why I was preparing for JE. I think more so it was stereotypical of the Indian nature that okay, engineer ban jao, life settled hai, scope hai. So I never gave the JE exam. So one of my friends, she nudged me to apply outside India. She thought that I had a good CV. I got into few colleges, so I chose University of Edinburgh because it's a 4-year degree, sought after for computer science, and I hated that degree. Like, of course, engineering has a scope, computer science engineering, but I didn't love it. And then there was one friend of mine whose father told me, if you excel in something that you don't like, think about what you'll do in something that you really like.
Wow.
So then I made it my life goal to excel in that course. So I was in top 10 percentile, did fine, but then I had that gap. I felt that I really want to know about the business world, the finance world, because I had that presumption that this controls the world.
Okay.
And then I went to Imperial College of London, did my master's in management with a finance specialism. By this time, I had already founded my second startup. It was basically a plugin which used to fetch real-time information for any trade that you execute in real time.
Okay.
Yeah, I exited that. Then I was at Imperial, and there I co-founded Crowd, which is a merit-based social media platform for investors and traders. I'm also part of the co-founding team of Laksha University, and yeah, I sit at a board of a company too. And I'm 25 years old. Outside work, I am a black belt 4-time holder in Taekwondo, state level pistol shooter, and I love cooking. I think cooking is something which keeps me zen.
Wow.
Yes.
What's the favorite meal to cook?
My favorite meal to cook recently is something Italian.
Okay.
So what I try to do is fetch the finest ingredients sourced from Italy and perfect that sourdough base from scratch, and yeah, just go about that. So I'm trying to have that perfect recipe for the perfect sourdough, which can be used for eating pizza, sandwiches. So right now I'm experimenting with that, and I'm a recent vegetarian. So
recent vegetarian. Okay, that's interesting.
It's been almost 6 months now, but I'm loving every bit of it.
But why did you start like
Being a vegetarian?
Yeah.
First reason was it was an internal calling. I have somehow always been into spirituality, and when there's a gut feeling ki, okay, your body is calling for something which is non-meat, like you should not be a carnivorous. I think that was one pivot for me. Then I became a vegetarian. That's one. Number two, I used to have decent non-veg consumption. Every single day I used to have it at least in one meal. So I just felt that just get away from that. And one of my gurus, he told me one thing about the philosophies of Hinduism. That why is it that people who eat vegetarian seem to be more calm? It's a very big hypothesis, armchair philosophy. But what I realized was there's a thing called the culmination of a human, culmination of a living being. So if it's naturally done, for example, if you look at a fruit, fruit automatically falls from its root.
Yeah.
Then you can consume it because it's already there.
Yes.
But with meat, what happens is you intentionally culminate their life. So I thought, why not experiment or why not try this vegetarianism?
Yeah.
And once I did that, being honest, at least for me, personally speaking, my life has changed in the best way possible. That's about me. But I am still concerned how I meet my protein goals. But whey isolate, pea protein, I think helps me get through that.
So no plans to go complete vegan?
No.
No, vegetarian is fine.
Yeah, I'm an Indian. Ghee khana padta hai.
Amazing. So it's lovely to know more about Ajitesh Gupta. Following up with this, tell me about your venture Crowd.
Okay.
How did you come up with the idea? How did you start with this? And what was the calling for this?
Okay. So the calling. Let's start with that. I was in the middle of selling my second startup, and at that time when I exited the company, I had the money and I put it in the financial markets as an investment. At that time, I really faced the problem of finding reliable information. I was not able to find the creators, the gurus that I wanted very easily. YouTube is quite noisy, Telegram is quite noisy, WhatsApp is quite noisy. So I'm like, where to go now? Then what happened was, I forgot about that. But it was in my gut somewhere that I need to solve this problem, and it was 2020. 2022, I start at Imperial. And 2023 Jan around, I got a message from this person called Johannes. He's my co-founder right now, a little disclaimer. And he said that Johannes and Nicola are building a startup. It just had a vision to democratize financial discussions, to denoise financial discussions. And what do you mean by that? When we look at all these noise, we want to find the most credible voice. So the system, the app, the product was centered around that. I said, I'm on board. I just, self-invited myself to be a contributor to the whole company. And it was just a vision. It was just a thought. There was no product. So I said, I'll work for free. Let's build this product together. So we were just 3 people, built that product for 7 months, scaled it to 6 countries, 10,000 users, raised our first round of funding from Hexa. And that was the start of Crowd in Europe first. So my calling was something which I faced when I was investing. The solution was something which I got invited for from Johannes. And then the vision that I had was to bring this product to India. And from Europe to India, the journey of Crowd is that 2024 Jan is when I bring Crowd to India, start off with 2 interns. 7 months in, we get 70% web traffic just from our country, and with less than half the users that we had across the globe. We went for the second round of funding. European investors said that we want to invest in the Indian side of Crowd.
Wow.
And we always believe as Indians in the Indian growth story, but the real power to see is that Europeans are also believing in Indian growth story. The world is believing in the Indian growth story. So that was the proudest moment. And one thing which I always had in mind was, I could have stayed in Europe. I had 2 job offers there, full-time job offers, paid very well. The whole world was after me to not pick Crowd over these 2 offers. The reason was it was not secure. It was too risky at that time. But, gut feeling is there. And became the CEO. And of course, I was a co-founder from the beginning and pivoted the whole company from Europe to India, built a team of 70 plus people.
Wow.
And it's just going pretty well. And just being 25, I think all of this was achievable because of things which I always say, which made the biggest difference in my life, being a 25-year-old kid or a human who whatever achieved in life. The first thing is Ashirwad, which is the blessings of people who are around me. Starting with my family, my parents, my sibling, my sister, my relatives, my closest friends in life, my mentors, my investors, and my tuition teachers. So I still am connected with them. So they believed in that person who was just an average kid academically, who thought who could make a difference, and just that belief is something which is enough for a kid to act as a springboard to achieve that no one expects of that person. So that
You're
is
so grateful for everything that has come across in your life, and it is actually remarkable because not many people are satisfied with what they have. Even if you're building it right now,
Yeah.
you're very much grateful and you acknowledge every blessing, and that's amazing. And maybe that's why your accidental journey is turning out to be very beautiful.
I always say that I think blessings are the things, they're the quintessential aspects of your life which makes the complete difference, makes a huge difference. So for me, I always put that first.
I think every entrepreneur, every founder needs that thinking of being grateful and acknowledge their blessings, because that is something that navigates their way to the high success.
No, absolutely. I think, of course, I can speak for myself. It does work wonders for me. And there are many things why I believe in this, not just because it happened with me in a good way. Even if things happen in a negative sense, I always treat it as a blessing, which I'll of course talk about later as we delve into this. But the second part is character. How does a character get built? See, one of my investors said that we can sniff through a founder of what they're building, why they're building, and what is their real motive. And for me, it was to be really I need to have that trust engulfed in the vision that we could make a difference. That's one. But still, investor doesn't look at that. Investor looks at the founder, sees कि नियत कैसी इंसान की, चरित्र कैसा है. So if they can sense that, that's the second biggest difference that happens. And third is pagalpan. Am I mad enough about the problem? Am I passionate enough about the problem, which can make me drive the company even when we are struggling? And we struggle.
Do you think that sometimes being an entrepreneur, everybody wants that their company makes profits, right? But they eventually lose the motive or the passion, that the madness that you mentioned about. They always have it in the beginning. But once the profits start going down, or maybe the financial crisis hit the company, do you think at that time an entrepreneur should recall their actual longing, why they initially started, and how they can do that?
देखो, एक इमारत की बुनियाद जितनी मजबूत है, उतनी ही लंबी इमारत चलती है. Like any earthquake happens, any flood happens, the building should be intact. And people always think that the company is built on product, company is built on funds, and I say it is not. It is built on one thing, which is a team. And team is built because of the culture that you have in the company. The culture is built because of the vision that you have with the company. And the vision is built because of the character you have as a founder. So this is my philosophy, and I feel that it has also made what Crowd is today. And again, showing that gratitude towards the team, and I'll tell you why. We started off with 2 interns, 2024 Jan. 7 months in, we had around 40 people. We were having zero funds in the bank, zero funds. People were still working for us without any stipend. And it was that belief that they showed, it was that sacrifice which they showed, which helped us sustain during those months where I was pivoting the whole company from Europe to India, where I was raising funds, where I was also parallelly building a team. All of these combined would have only been possible if I had the team. So team is always the heart, product is the spine, and profits and all, of course, it's part of business. It's never a straight curve. And I've learned from many of my family friends. One of my friend's father, quite a prominent personality in the business world. And what I've learned from him is that there would be ups and downs, but what keeps you sane are a few things which is driven by culture, which is driven by the philosophy, and which is also driven by you. Because you also need to be sane. Because if you lose your sanity during these tough times, the company will stumble, or it'll be a wobbly building that you're building on. So how do I keep myself zen? That's also important.
It's amazing. and talking about the struggles and the low moments when actually entrepreneurs lose their sanity.
Yeah.
Tell me about Crowd. Were there any low moments, and how did you as a co-founder come back at it?
First answer to this question is I would talk about my personal struggles with Crowd, and then I'll come to struggles which came with Crowd.
Sure.
So the first struggle was convincing my parents for me to do a startup, and it was a very hard business to do because being from a bureaucratic family, I was always brought up as a plant which is gonna become a civil servant, and it was very hard to convince my family. It was very hard to convince people around me because everyone expected me to be a civil servant.
Of course.
Yes, it was given.
It was, I think, generation. Your grandfather,
yes,
your father,
and then me. So that was the first challenge.
Yeah.
Second challenge came when I had two big job offers in parallel with Crowd. So I had to choose these job offers or I had to choose Crowd. When we raised the first round of funding, everyone said, take the full-time offer. Even my counselor who was helping me get the master's application done said, choose that. I didn't choose that. People called me mad. So, when you talk about challenges, there are two kinds of challenges. First challenge is it a personal challenge or is it a societal challenge? So the first challenge I faced was a societal challenge. It was never a personal challenge. The societal challenge is moving beyond the expectations of the society. आप समाज की उम्मीदों से कैसे ऊपर उठते हो, that is what makes the difference. अगर आप उठ गए, you're above everyone else in the sense of thought, in the sense of conviction in what you're building. That was the biggest challenge for me. One. Then came challenges with Crowd. In Europe, of course, there are challenges with respect to growth, marketing, how you raise funds, how you build a team. But I think these challenges everyone talks about. I'll talk about challenges which no one talks about. It is building the culture. When you're young, as a founder, use 24, people or founders usually would not focus on this one aspect of culture. But I think it's the most important part of the company. So I was trying to build that vision because I had to, link the proposition the value proposition which Crowd was trying to solve or trying to provide to audiences with a larger audience. So it is a problem in India that we have 10 crore retail accounts, 5 lakh retail accounts are added every single week. 90-95% people lose money in futures and options. So what is the gap? The gap is reliable information. There are no credible voices, and if there are, of course there are credible voices, but are those credible voices being brought up to the public and shown that these are the credible voices? We only have 1300 SEBI RAs. People are giving stock tips like anything on Telegram, even if they're not SEBI registered. So we're trying to solve that. We're trying to give transparency to the audiences of the public, audiences of the country, and this is something which I had to resonate with the whole team because their parents, their relatives, their friends, all of them have faced this difficulty. So this is what I had to inculcate in all the team members. So this was the first part of culture. Second is how strong is the culture? Because if this is not resonated well with them, we had no funds. We are raising the second round of funds. Team was working on no time. So how do you keep them motivated? Is it too aspirational कि funding आ जाएगी पैसा मिल जाएगा? It's not that. It's something which makes them feel valuable, which makes them feel that what they're working for, what they're working towards, is it bringing a tangible impact on the society? So for us, the case was good because India was seeing an uptick in the number of transactions, retail traders coming in. So how do you sustain that building that we talked about?
Yeah.
And third is, I think, how I kept myself sane. They're like handling 10 different teams, 70 plus team members. How do you make it a well-oiled machine? So startups is all over the place. A startup starts and marketing हो रही है, growth हो रहा है, user acquisition हो रही है, सब इधर उधर है, it's all blurry. But what is important is how do you make it efficient and how do you make every person feel responsible? You're not getting the grunt work done, you're giving people a voice to get the best work done which they can give ever. So these are the few challenges which I faced while scaling Crowd, building Crowd.
Learning about Crowd, one thing I noticed that you use a terminology anti-finfluencer.
Yes.
What's the deeper story behind it?
So anti-finfluencer. So if you search SEBI finfluencer crackdown, there'll be 1,000 articles. The thing is, what I talked about is Telegram, WhatsApp, Instagram. Like these platforms, social media platforms, are kind of flooded with these influencers who are giving stock tips but are not registered with SEBI. For everyone who's watching this, one thing is there: if you're receiving a stock advice from a person who is a non-SEBI RA, it is illegal. They can be jailed, they can be penalized for that. So yes, people don't know that. So we are trying to put this awareness out first, that this is the problem that crowd wants to solve. So on our platform, if any creator who is a non-SEBI RA puts out a stock advice, we do not let that post out. So any viewer who's reading an article, who's reading a publication or research on our platform, they can be stress-free that whatever they're reading is basically legal, is compliant with SEBI guidelines. So yeah, this is the anti-influencer culture that we're trying to promote. We want credible voices to come up front. We want to give virality to higher credible people.
Wow. And like bridging this gap, there are a lot of stories out there, the reels that people swipe through, the success stories of getting 2 crores in a day by investing this much amount.
Yeah.
How do you think like crowd is able to cater that? Like you obviously mentioned that you were trying to bridge that gap between the audiences and the actual reality world, that how it works. How do you think these success stories are, you know, hampering the actual trading system or the people who are investing, and how is crowd putting its effort in catering this issue?
I think it's more so a societal problem. Why do I say it? The get rich quick scheme. It's prevalent across globe. Lotteries. It's banned in India. Lotteries are there. These Ponzi scams are there. Schemes are there. कि okay, इतना पैसा लगाओ, इतना बना देंगे एक महीने में. It doesn't work like that. People have not created wealth overnight. It is a factor of compounding over decades, if not few centuries or generations. But that being said, how are we solving it? How are we tackling that? See, we're just trying to create awareness about how important credible information is about the stock markets, financial markets, and putting the right information, factually correct information up front first. And of course, awareness with respect to scams which are happening around. We are our Instagram, we are our LinkedIn, crowd.io. But yes, our direct awareness is not about educating people of how they should not fall for these one-day Ponzi schemes, but it's about education. And once people are educated about this, of course, they would not fall for these things, and also lead a future which is driven by wisdom of investors.
Okay, so talking about this, tell me what's up in Crowd's vision board or Ajitesh Gupta's vision board for Crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now we are focusing on delivering the right information. So when I talk about finance or investments, there's a supply chain. You start off with information, knowledge. So we are tackling that first. We want to bring, as I mentioned repeatedly, that credible information should be out first in terms of what you want to find. So what we are trying to achieve is, let's say you're interested in pharma sector. We want to automatically detect that this is your interest and show you the content related to that. This is hyper-personalized feed, which we basically try to deliver using our AI fintech positioning that we position as at Crowd. So yeah, knowledge and information comes first in the supply chain, then comes investments. So okay, I have the knowledge. What do I do with it? I invest. Right now, you would go to other brokerage platforms, but in 1.5 years, we intend to have our own brokerage platform.
Wow.
Not a lot of people know this. I think first time I'm telling it.
That.
Yes, touch wood. But yes, this is the second positioning of Crowd into the brokerage services, and the investment journey starts at the second step. Now comes the optimization of how you exit a trade, how do you average out your trades, how do you adjust with the market sentiment. Then the third stage comes optimization of your portfolio, and this is where we are trying to bring robot advisory, leveraging AI to optimize your portfolio. Also have human advisors, SEBI registered people to guide you at the most economical cost that you will ever see in the Indian market.
That's amazing. Now there are some rapid fire questions that I have for you, and they're my personal favorite. So the best part of this interview, one influencer myth you'd like to bust.
You can earn 1 crore in one day. It doesn't work like that. पैसा कमाने के लिए बहुत पापड़ बेलने पड़ते हैं. It takes years. It takes decades. Yeah.
And code or capital, which feels more personal?
Character.
Okay, that was not expected, but that is very important. That is very important. One word that defines your 2025 energy.
Oh, innovative.
Okay.
Yes.
Innovative towards life as Ajitesh Gupta, or innovative as a co-founder of Crowd?
Innovative towards craziness of both personal life and crowd. Of what things we want to achieve at crowd is something which is going to cause exponential growth. So yeah, that craziness, that pagalpan which I always talk about. That's
Madness.
What, yes,
that
madness.
Yeah, perfect.
With Charitra.
Yes. One word to describe Ajitesh's journey as a founder.
Accidental. Completely accidental. Yeah. I would not say, oh, I was born for this. Oh, I was meant to do this. No,
I
never.
have planned this forever.
Oh, no, please, never. It just happened, and very grateful of how it happened.
Okay, this is my final question, and I hate to end this, to be very honest. If your journey were to be written as a book, what would you title the chapter you are in right now?
Chapter which I'm in chapter I'm in.
It's accidental, please.
It's not accidental. Scaling.
Scaling.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was wonderful talking to you, and I hope our audience could relate to the information that you gave, not only for crowd or for the financial market, but the amount of depth that you have as a human is remarkable. And I appreciate that very much, I must say.
Thank you
so much for coming on a podcast.
No,
It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you.